Hi, I hope you're having a great day. Well, today I want to talk about this chronic problem that people from all across the world suffer from. It's called anxiety. It's not just adults, it's not just senior citizens, but it's even our children and our teenagers that are exposed to high and chronic levels of anxiety. Now, anxiety may just seem like a simple word, and people brush off anxiety with, there's stress in the world, there's nothing we can do about it, and that's how life is. But when we accept how life is and we accept that anxiety is a part of our life and that it should be a part of our life, that's when chronic anxiety starts to hurt us in forms of disease, in forms of PCODs in young girls, ovarian issues, hormonal changes, anger issues, behavioral issues, lack of sleep at night, inability to lose weight, weight gain, and all of these problems. Yes, it is tied in with an anxiety. Now you may think, how can anxiety cause something like weight gain? How can anxiety cause PCOD in my young daughter? How can anxiety be the reason why I'm losing my hair or not sleeping well at night? Because anxiety is only a feeling. Well, we need to understand that every feeling, every thought results in a feeling, and every feeling has either a positive or a negative impact on trillions of cells in the human body. We need to understand that we have two nervous systems in the human body, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. When you understand this, you will understand how dangerous anxiety is for you. Today we have correlations of anxiety with heart attacks. We have correlations of anxiety with high blood pressure, cardiac arrests, strokes, cancers, diabetes, weight gain, liver dysfunction, kidney malfunction, and so many other issues. There is enough of medical science showing us the impact of anxiety and stress with disease. But yet most of us think that, to be successful, we need to be stressed and anxious. The more anxiety we have means that we're doing so much more. To grow to a higher position or to assume a higher position in the company, it comes along with all that stress and anxiety, and that means to be a CEO, I have to be willing to have and bear that amount of anxiety. Well, that's a personal choice. Some of the busiest people in the world and the most successful people in the world have way more stress than you and me, but they have different techniques in their lifestyle where they learn to manage their anxiety. So all I'm trying to say is that if you have anxiety, figure out ways to make it better. Figure out ways to control it, manage it, reduce it. Okay, don't just accept it and say, it's part of life, it's part of my life, and get into this game of blaming everyone around you, blaming your job, blaming your husband, your wife, your relationships, the kind of work that you're in, because the more you blame, there's only one thing that happens. You never heal. Your problems never get less. In fact, they get more and more. So stay away from blaming. Coming back to the sympathetic nervous system. We need both these nervous systems. Sympathetic nervous system is also your fight and flight. So, if we have a dangerous situation happening, we're crossing the road, there's a car coming in front of us, the body moves into sympathetic nervous system to protect us. We get most of our work done in the sympathetic nervous system. We're able to negotiate, be in stressful meetings, react to arguments when we're in the sympathetic nervous system. So the idea is to stay in the sympathetic nervous system for the least possible time. After that, we need to move back into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is also known as your rest and digest. Okay, in the parasympathetic nervous system, that is when the body can relax. That is when it can sleep. That is when it can digest all the food that we're eating. So if I'm in the sympathetic nervous system, over here my blood pressure is going to be higher, my cholesterol is going to be higher, my blood sugar levels are going to be all over the place, my cortisol and adrenaline levels are going to be at the highest, and my digestive system literally shuts down. So if I'm eating a meal when I'm in the sympathetic nervous system, which means I'm highly stressed, two things are going to happen. A lot of acid, a lot of indigestion. I'm not even going to absorb most of the vitamins and minerals from the meal that I'm eating because I'm eating in the wrong state, the wrong nervous system. But when I'm in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, I'm able to digest my food, assimilate my food, not overeat, eat the right quantity, my cravings are lesser, and everything works just perfectly. That's the intelligence of the human body. We have different systems for different periods of time. If I'm in the sympathetic nervous system right before bedtime, will I be able to fall asleep? Absolutely not, because in the sympathetic nervous system, my adrenaline is all up, my cortisol is up, my blood is rushing to all of my muscles because I'm in a stressful nervous system. My body doesn't know when the event is going to end, so there's no way I can fall asleep. But if I'm in the parasympathetic nervous system right before bedtime, that is rest and digest, my body has the entire mechanism and the right hormonal balance to let me fall asleep, which is why people who don't disconnect from today and are thinking of constant thoughts can never fall asleep, or they fall asleep because they're fatigued, but they wake up with thoughts and then they can't fall asleep again. So these are two nervous systems, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Now coming back to anxiety. When you are anxious, okay, I'm anxious about reaching the airport on time. I reach the airport on time, I don't miss my flight, the event is over, I'm fine. That anxiety is okay. I'm talking about chronic anxiety, when I'm constantly worrying about something. I'm constantly worrying. The exams of our children have not even started, but I'm constantly worrying whether my child's going to get a first, is going to stand first, second, third, whether he'll fail, whether she'll pass, whether they'll get good grades, what the other parents will think about my children if they don't do well enough, will I get admissions in colleges, and all of that stuff. That is chronic anxiety. That is anxiety that will keep you in the sympathetic nervous system. Another example, will I lose weight? Will I look good enough? If I don't lose weight at the next party, are people going to talk about me? What are people going to say about me? Are they going to backstab me? Are they going to talk behind my back? That is chronic anxiety. Okay, you have a wedding coming 6 months down the line, but you start worrying about what you're going to wear, how you're going to look, and all of those things. Chronic anxiety. Now this anxiety keeps you in the sympathetic nervous system, which means it wreaks havoc with your digestive system, the way you absorb nutrition, you assimilate nutrition, your sleep, your weight. Because what happens is when you're in the sympathetic nervous system, your body's not going to try to lose weight. Because in the sympathetic nervous system, it's trying to conserve all kinds of energy. It also converts food into fat to conserve it for energy, because your body doesn't know when the stressful event is going to end. So what happens is you actually switch on the fat storage switch in the human body when you are chronically anxious and chronically stressed. So you can be working out, you can be doing organic food and salads all through the day, but if you have chronic anxiety, you will still have digestive problems and you will still struggle to lose weight. So the idea is, what are the solutions when it comes to anxiety? Now, a lot of people have this in their nature. They're constantly worried and they're constantly anxious about things. The first thing is to accept that you are an anxious person. Number two is to start doing something about it. Number one, do not compromise your sleep. When you sleep, your mind and your body and your heart and all your trillion cells recharge. If you do not have a good night of sleep, you wake up more anxious, more frustrated, and even small problems tend to get more and more magnified, making you more and more anxious, and you stay in this vicious cycle of anxiety. Do not compromise your sleep. Improve your sleep. If you're anxious and you cannot sleep, then you got to work the other way around. You got to start meditating. Meditation helps you calm down. Your problems may still be there, but meditation helps you to relax your cortisol levels. It allows your adrenaline levels to fall back to normal. It allows you to breathe more. The more oxygen you take in, your body gets a signal that it's in a state of relaxation and there's no stress. But I could be doing nothing right now but breathing heavily because I don't know how to breathe the right way. And my body will still be in stress mode, because the shallower you're breathing, you will stay in the sympathetic nervous system. But the moment you start taking slow, long inhales and longer exhales, you automatically move to the rest and digest, giving a signal to your body that you are no longer in a stressful situation. So you may be in a stressful meeting right now. You may be talking to an annoying person. You may be in a toxic relationship with someone. While all of this is happening, you can still control the way that you breathe. You breathe slow. No matter how many toxic people you have around you, no matter how boring your meeting is or how stressful your meeting is, you breathe slowly and you will stay in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is important for your stress levels, your weight, your hormones, your inflammation, and everything else. The second thing, alcohol and smoking. Yes, no doubt, smoking a cigarette and alcohol may make you feel calm. But if you are chronically anxious, it is better that you restrict yourself from smoking and alcohol, because the alcohol and smoking will give you that calm for a short period of time. The moment the effect of the smoke and the alcohol reduces, that anxiety will come back with a vengeance. So rather than using it as a band-aid, you want to look at the root cause of your anxiety and work with that. Alcohol and smoking will only make your anxiety worse and worse. Your diet, extremely important. If you're eating a lot of sugar and a lot of junk and have a lot of caffeine in your system, a lot of caffeine makes your nervous system more jittery. That makes you more anxious. And that's why anxious people constantly need more caffeine to basically balance it. So you're at a high, then you have a low, you have a crash, and then you need a high fix again, so you do caffeine, sugar, or anything that has salt. So make sure that your diet is clean. If you are very, very anxious, make sure that you clean up your diet, because that can help you reduce your anxiety at the same time. Exercise, extremely important. The more you move your body, the more blood flow you have to your brain, the more endorphins you produce, the more happy hormones and everything that can reduce your anxiety. That's why exercise is a stress buster for most people who are anxious. But most people who are anxious don't make time to exercise, so they get caught in the vicious cycle of chronic anxiety. So make sure you exercise. Yoga, pranayama, and deep breathing, these are drugs to help you with your anxiety. The more oxygen you put in yourself, the lower your anxiety. Your problem may still be there, but at least internally you've relaxed your cortisol levels and you can reduce your anxiety. Make sure that your water intake is good. If your water intake is less and you're dehydrating, you automatically move to the sympathetic nervous system and you automatically start getting anxious. So make sure that you're giving your body the right kind of food and the right levels of hydration at the same time. Aromatherapy and massage. There are so many essential oils that you can light up in your own home that can calm you down. Certain smells have the ability to calm us down. That's called aromatherapy. Massages, if massages work for you to reduce your anxiety, you want to start doing more of them if you can. Anything that can help you reduce anxiety. But the most important thing is looking inside, which is why meditation is so important. You need to look inside at your own fears and insecurities. Most people are anxious about things which may never happen. Most people are worried about things which may never happen. Look back in your life right now. Look at the things that you worried about most and you were anxious about most. Now, if you really look back, most of you will find out those things never really happened. They were only stories that your mind made. They were only illusions that your mind kept making because of your own insecurities and your own fears. That's why it's so important for us to meditate and look inside. We need to revisit our egos, our prides, our fears, our insecurities, and see what makes us so worried about someone's opinion, someone judging us, and all of these things. That answer can only be found inside of you, and that answer is only meditation. You can have all the friends in the world, all the social circles in the world, but finally the only answer will be from inside. Your friends, your family, everyone will help you with their opinions, with their judgments, what they think about the situation, what they think about your situation. But the only answer comes from within your own self, which is why meditation plays a huge role with your anxiety. Now, breathing, like I said, deep breathing, pranayama is fantastic. But I want to introduce you to the 5-5-9 method that can help you reduce anxiety almost instantly in less than a minute. So you do an inhale for 5 seconds. You always do these breathing exercises with your back straight. Your spine has to be straight. You got to figure like someone's got a hook in your head and someone's pulling you upward. There's this invisible pull. So your back is absolutely straight. Your spine is straight. And then you do a 5-5-9. So you do a 5-second inhale, a 5-second hold, and a 9-second exhale. If you can't do 5, do 4. Do 3 if you can't. Do this for about 6 times and you will move from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system instantly. This doesn't take you more than a minute. Yes, it doesn't cost you money, so a lot of you will already take it for granted just because it's inexpensive and free. That's human nature. You tend to take things for granted that don't cost you money. But 5-5-9 can be done on a flight, it can be done in your car, it can be done in your office, it could be done while you're having this really terrible argument with your spouse, partner, boss, or whatever it is. You focus on your 5-5-9. That way it keeps your mouth shut so you don't end up saying more stuff and making the problem worse. You know, most of us open our mouth and that's when the whole problem gets worse and worse. So doing the 5-5-9 keeps your mouth shut and keeps you focused on your breathing. And that brings your cortisol levels, your adrenaline right down, sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system. Before we end this, there's one more thing that you need to meditate on and reflect on. Worry and anxiety never fixes anyone's problem. Action does. Action sorts the problem. Restraint solves the problem. But no amount of worry and anxiety will ever solve your problem. It's never solved anyone's problem. It will not solve your problem. For all the spiritual people out there who pray to a God or to a higher force or whatever, we know there's one commonality in every religion, which is prayer with faith and belief. Most people pray, but then they try to do God's job of fixing the problem through worry and anxiety. Your job is to pray and then surrender. You can only surrender if you have faith and belief that when you've said your prayer or when you've asked for help from the universe or your God, your job is to surrender it, not to come back home and worry it. Your job is not to spend 1 hour in your religious place praying and then coming home and worrying about all the things you prayed for. This is something that we need to reflect on and meditate on. And you may say, oh, it's extremely difficult. It's only difficult because you've not looked inside and reevaluated your own fears, your own insecurities, your own ego, and your own pride. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep. And please understand that anxiety and stress is the root cause of most diseases today, most lifestyle diseases. You can take all the medicine in the world, eat all the organic food, exercise as much as you want, but if you don't sort out your emotional state of mind and your heart, and you have anxiety and chronic stress, nothing else works. Have a great day, everyone.